Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to talk about solving the quadratic equation by factoring. For solving the quadratic equation we have different methods. Solving by factoring is one of the methods. In the future videos I'm going to teach you about how to solve the quadratic equation with the other methods. For solving quadratic equation by factoring, we use this formula, or we use this rule. If I have a, b equal to 0, if I have two numbers or two variables multiplied by each other equal to 0, then I can say a equals 0 is one of the factor, is one of the answer, and the other answer is b equal to 0. These two can be the solution of this equation, ab equal to 0. Why we are using this one? I want to explain a little bit more about this one. Let's say if I have 5a is equal to 10, then what's the solution for this one? If we divide both sides by 5, then a gonna be equal to 10 over 5, or a gonna be equal to 2. Right? A equal 2 is the solution of this equation. 5a is equal 10. Why? Because if instead of a, I substitute 2, then 2 times 5 is equal 10. Left side and right side gonna be equal. Okay? Now, having this one in mind, if I have as an example 5a is equal to 0. Okay? Then what's the answer? 5 is not 0. 5 is 5. What is the other possible answer? A be 0. Again, how? If I divide both sides by 5, then a is equal 0 over 5. 0 dividing by any number is 0. So this 5 actually doesn't play any important role, because anyway, whatever is 5, whatever is the denominator, a gonna be equal 0. 0 divided by any number is gonna be 0. As an example, if I say, now go back again to this one, if I have a, b equal to 0, then if I want to calculate a, I can say a is equal, if I divide both sides by b, a is gonna be equal 0 over b. Right? Sorry, 0 over b. Let me erase the top one to make it. Okay. If I divide both sides, because I'm solving it for a. If I divide both sides by b, then a gonna be 0 over b. And again, as you see, b is not important in this case, because 0 divided by any number, the answer gonna be 0. We are using this rule or this formula that when we have two factors or three factors equal to 0, each of the factor can be equal to 0 and is one of the possible answers. So if a, b be equal to 0, then one possible answer, a is equal to 0, we don't care about the value of b, whatever is the value of b. If I change a to 0, then the result is gonna be 0. Or, so one possible answer is a equals 0, don't care about the b. The other possible answer, b equals 0, we don't care about the value of a. Okay? We use this rule to solve the quadratic equation by factoring. Now, let's do one example. Remember, this formula ab equal to 0, it's work only the right side is 0. If a, b equal 5 as an example, then what the result of a depends on the value of b. Or result of b depends on value of a if it's be equal something another than 0. But when ab is equal 0, then one possible answer is A equals 0, other possible answer is B equals 0. Okay, let's use this rule to solve the quadratic equation by factoring. Let's have this example. X squared minus x squared minus x minus 2 equal to 0. I want to solve this quadratic equation. Again, remember what is the meaning of solving? I need to find a value of x. When I substitute in the formula, the left side and right side be equal. This is the meaning of solving an equation, finding the value of variable, that when we substitute in the equation, the left side of the equation and the right side of the equation be equal. So, for solving this one, we need to factor this expression, x squared minus x minus 2. We need to factor this expression. If you remember, we should for factoring this one, open two brackets, and this is equal to 0. And we need to find two numbers. When we multiply the numbers, the result should be negative 2. When we multiply the numbers, should be negative 2. And when we add the numbers, the result should be negative 1. Okay? What are those numbers? Because this sign is negative, it means the two numbers that we should multiply by each other, they should have different sign. One of them positive and the other one is negative. And because this sign is negative, it means the bigger number, the bigger absolute value should be negative. What are those numbers? Is negative 1, negative 2, and positive 1. Sorry. Those numbers are 2 and 1. Because this number, those numbers are 2 and 1, because 2 times 1 is going to be 2. But because this sign is negative, they should have different sign, and because this sign of addition is negative, the bigger absolute value or bigger number should be negative. So negative 2, positive 1. So if we multiply this one, negative 2 to positive 1 is negative 2, negative 2 plus 1 is going to be negative 1. So x right here, and negative 2, negative 1. This is the factor of this equation. Instead of x minus 2, x squared minus x minus 2, I can write it as x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 1 equal to 0. Now, because the multiplication of these two is equal to 0, it means either of them equal to 0 is one of the answer, can be the answer. Same a, b equal to 0. A equals 0 is one answer, B equals 0 is another answer. So instead of A and B, we have x minus 2, x minus 1. Multiplication of these two is equal to 0. It means each of this bracket equal to 0 is one of the answer. So x minus 2 equal to 0. If I move negative 2 to other side, it's going to be x equal to. This is one answer. The other bracket, x minus 1 equal to 0, it means x equal 1. This is the another answer. X equal 2 and x equal 1 is the solution of this equation. How we can check that our calculation is right? If instead of x, I substitute 2 in the original equation, it's gonna be, it should be end up to 0 if I don't make mistakes, and same as for x equal 1. Let's check it. In x equal 2, if I substitute in the equation, then gonna be 2 to the power of 2 minus 2 minus 2. This one is the second, this one is first x, second x, and this minus 2 is the constant of the equation. So simplify this one, 2 to the power of 2 is 4, and negative 2 is going to be negative 4, and 4 negative 4 is 0. Can you see? So this is the right answer. Our calculation is right. For the second one, for the x equal 1, then what can it be? 1 to the power of 2 minus 1 minus 2. Right? 1 to the power of 2 minus 1 minus 2. The 1 to the power of 2 is 1 minus 1 minus 2 is going to be 1 minus 3, which is minus 2. It didn't end up to 0. What it means? It means we made mistakes somewhere. I need to go back and check my calculation. Let's say where I made mistakes. X minus 2, my negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. It should be negative 2. So I made mistakes in writing the equation. So can you see how it's useful and it's important that if I check my calculation, one of them was negative 2 and the other one was positive 1. So I made mistakes in writing this one. So positive 1. Then what's going to be the result? Negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So I made mistake previously. If I check this one of them x equal negative 2 equals 0, x equal 2, which is right. I check it and it's fine. The other one, x plus 1 should be equal to 0. X plus 1 equal to 0, then x gonna be equal to negative 1. This is the right answer. Now if I check x equal negative 1, then it's gonna be negative 1 to the power of 2 instead of x, substitute negative 1, and this one gonna be minus x is negative 1 minus 1 minus 2, again is going to be equal, negative 1 to the power of 2 is 1, negative 1, negative times negative is positive 1, and minus 2, then 1 plus 1 is 2, minus 2 is going to be 0. As you see in this video, checking the solution is very useful, especially when you are doing test or quiz. If sometimes the question asks solve and check, that you have to solve and you have to check. But sometimes the question asks, most of the time the question asks just solve it. So even the question didn't ask you to check it in your scrap paper out of your answer sheet, you can check for yourself to be sure that your calculation is right. If something same as these mistakes happen, then you can go back and fix your mistakes. Okay, let's do one more example of solving the quadratic equation. Erase this one. Let's use another example. X squared minus 10x is equal to negative 21. Okay. I want to solve this quadratic equation by factoring. Remember, when we want to solve by factoring, we have to convert to the standard format. We have to move all the terms in one side, put it equal to 0, and arrange the degree from highest to lowest. So this one is not in the standard format. I'm going to move this negative 21 to the other side to make it a standard format. Then it's going to be x squared minus 10x plus 21 is equal to 0. Now again, I need to find two numbers. When I multiply them, the result be plus 21, and when I add them, the result be negative 10. What are those numbers? 3 and 7. 3 and 7. Because 3 multiplied by 7 give me 21. But again, because this sign of multiplication is positive, it means these two numbers should have same sign. And because this sum of addition is negative, it means both should be negative sign. Then negative 3 times negative 7 is positive 21. Negative 3 plus negative 7 is going to be negative 10. Now, open two bracket. The first term is going to be x. The next term is going to be these numbers, -3 and -7, equal to 0. Then put each of the bracket equal to 0. X minus 3 equal to 0. It means x equal 3. X minus 7 equal to 0. It means x is 7. One answer is x equal 3. The other answer is x equal 7. Even though the question doesn't ask me to check my solution, I don't need to check my solution when I'm doing test or quiz. If you don't have enough time, you don't have to check it. But if you have time, again, I strongly recommend you to check your solution. So instead of x, I substitute 3 in the original equation. The left side, because this one is not in the standard format, I don't want to use this one. I want to use the original one. So I go the table method. Left side, right side. The right side is -21. The left side, x is 3. So 3 to the power of 2 minus 10 times 3. Then 3 to the power of 2 is 9. Minus 10 times 3 is going to be minus 30. 9 minus 30 is minus 21. Left side and right side are equal. So this answer is right. I check this one. Let me check the answer x equals 7 too. Again, left side, right side. I hope that you are seeing. Yeah. Okay. So for x equals 7 is going to be 7 to the power of 2 minus 10 times 7. Minus 10 times 7. The right side is -21. Then 7 to the power of 2 is 49. Minus 10 times 7 is minus 70. And 49 minus 70 is minus 21. Left side and right side are equal. It means my calculation is right. This is the other method of solving, the other example of solving the quadratic equation. Let me just give you one more example. Okay, where is this one? I want to solve this one. X squared minus 5x is equal 0. Again, this one is the quadratic equation. Remember, the only restriction, a shouldn't be equal to 0, which is not 0 in this equation. A is 1, b is -5, and c is 0. I want to solve this one. First, I have to factor it. In this case, the factoring is very easy. What is the common factor between these two? The common factor is x. So if I factor from x, then this one gonna be x, and this one minus 5 equal to 0. Right? I factor the left side. Then I have two factors, multiple by itself, multiple by each other, gonna be 0. So each of the factors should be 0. One answer is x equals 0. And what is the other answer? X minus 5 equals 0, which gives me x equals 5. So, one answer is x equals 0, the other answer is x equals 5. If I want to check this one, if instead of x I substitute 0, this one gonna change to 0, minus 5 times 0 again is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0. So this is my right answer. X equals 5, 5 to the power of 2. Yeah, 5 to the power of 2 minus 5, instead of x substitute 5. Then 5 to the power of 2 is 25, minus 5 times 5 is minus 25, which gonna 0. So means both of the answers are right. One more example of this one, then we are done. Let's do this one. 6x squared is equal 5 minus 7x. 6x squared is equal 5 minus 7x. Again, I want to solve this one by factoring. So, first of all, I have to convert them to the standard format. It means 6x squared, move the other side, plus 7x minus 5 equals 0. Now I need to factor this one. For factoring this one, again, remember, because the coefficient of x squared is not 1, is anything other than 1. We should find two numbers. When we multiply them, the result should be 6 times negative 5. This number, the coefficient of x squared multiplied by the constant, negative 5. So, okay, so for this one, 6 times negative 5 gonna be negative 30. And when we add them, should be positive 7. I need to find two numbers. When I multiply them, the result be 6 times negative 5, which is negative 30. And when I add them, the result be positive 7. What are those numbers? The numbers are 10 and 3. 10 and 3. Okay, 3 times 10 is 30. But because this sign is negative, it means they should have different sign. And because this sign is positive, it means the bigger number should have positive sign. So, positive 10, negative 3. Positive 10 times negative 3 is going to be negative 30. Positive 10 plus negative 3 is going to be positive 7. Now, what is the next step? I should separate the middle term to two terms using this number. I can write it as 6x squared. Instead of 7x, I can write it plus 10x minus 3x. Can you see I changed this middle term to these two terms using this number. Minus 5 equal to 0. Okay, let me erase this one. I don't need this part anymore. Now, in this case, I have 4 terms that I can factor by grouping. For the first two, I can factor from 2, which going to be, 2x. For the first two terms, I can factor from 2x. Then it's going to be 3x plus 5. And for this one, I can factor from negative 1. Then it's going to be 3x plus 5 equal to 0. Now, factor from these two brackets is going to be 3x plus 5. For the first one is going to be 2x. For the next one is going to be minus 1 equal to 0. Yep. Now I factor this one to these two brackets, which is equal to 0. Each of the bracket, I put it equal to 0 and solve it. 3x plus 5 is going to be 0. Then what's the answer? X is equal 5 over 3. This is one answer. The other answer, 2x minus 1 equal to 0. Then the answer is going to be x is equal 1 over 2. This is the other answer. Remember, to be 100% sure that our calculation is right, we can substitute the answer in the original equation. If it's work, our calculation is right. If it's not work, we made mistakes somewhere in calculation, we should go back and check our mistake to fix our mistakes. Let me see. For this one again, in this one, x is going to be equal to negative. 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. I made mistakes in this part. X is going to be negative 5 over 3. Negative 5 over 3. I forget to put this negative sign. That's why when you are doing test or quiz, always go back and check your calculation to avoid this type of mistakes. Then To be more sure, substitute in the equation if you have time and check your answer to avoid to find if you make. I hope that you enjoyed this video. This is how we can solve quadratic equation by factoring. Bye for now. In the next videos, I talk about the other type of solving the quadratic equation. Bye for now.